Hello, thanks for tuning into this video. This might be a part 3. I'm not sure how I'm going to edit this, but I'm just trying to answer as many questions as you have. So I'm going to just continue going. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium, and I do political predictions. You guys have been so kind as to send your questions to me, and I'm going to do my best to answer some more of them for you. I am channeling this. So I am about 40% Susan, 60% spirit guides. Also, the energy can change on a dime. I'm reading energy here. Everybody has free will. So it's really up to them as to how they react to the energy. And that's why I do things a little differently. I tend to explain to you what is the energy affecting people so that you can understand how they may react or what the outcome might be. Okay. So let's answer some more of your questions. This is for entertainment purposes only. Julianne says, does the White House have plans in place to thwart MAGA alternate elector schemes, as well as plans to protect polling places against MAGA vigilantes? Well, the problem is, the guides are showing me, is that voting is done by the state. It's not done by the feds. Now, they're also showing me a time when I was working as a vote counter, and we did have a federal election officer walking around watching us, and they took our phones, they patted us down. I mean, it was pretty intense. And I don't even think it was a presidential election. I don't even know why it was so intense. But anyway, it was a very contested race. And so the states get to decide this. Now, what I think you're going to see is the White House is going to do an amazing job, like the kind of thing that you've not seen before, because this is the hallmark of Kamala Harris. Everything is going to be, wow, we've never seen that before. That is basically her trademark. I think you're going to see more communication and education from the White House about voting. And you're going to see more communication and education about what to look out for, what to report. So in that way, I think they're really going to help voters in red states to be clear about where the law is and where the law isn't. And I think they will give voters a clear way to report things that could be unlawful. So I think, yes, in that way, yes, but I think that they are not going to get involved actually within the states in a more deliberate way. Let me go on to Lauren. Lauren says, after Kamala is elected, I love the way you think, will she have anything to do with finally and quickly bringing all of Trump's cases to trial that he in various ways got postponed, the federal ones as well as the one in Georgia? I talked about this in the last video towards the end. But no and yes. No, she's not going to be able to, what the guides are saying, meddle in cases because we have separation of powers. But her presence has a rippling effect throughout every single type of situation. So, you see, I could see Cannon stepping down. I've done videos many times where I've said she has a golden parachute. She has a fat, healthy, luxurious job waiting for her in the private sector, allegedly for entertainment purposes only. And once her job is done, so to speak, she'll just mosey right along over there. So not only is it her, but all of these other judges that have done rulings or done things that have been not necessarily on the up and up, you're going to see them step down, or you're going to see them really straighten up and fly right. So in that way, and it's not a direct correlation of Kamala, but it's a direct correlation of Kamala's energy, because the writing's on the wall. They know they're going to fold. They're going to throw their cards down and walk away. They know they've lost. They know that they either have to get behind her, get behind the rule of law, or step down and move on. Okay, so in that way, it is going to affect his cases, because you're going to see a new, like some of these judges, and I'm not saying anything bad about, Mershon or any of the judges that have been doing the work. I'm talking about the judges that have been, and maybe even some prosecutors here or there, like maybe Garland or maybe other people. Who knows? Definitely SCOTUS. You're going to see them step down and get out of the way, or the scrutiny. And the scrutiny is like when you take a glass in the sun and it burns a hole in the grass. That's the level of scrutiny we're talking about here. No one wants to have their butt on fire, okay, with that kind of scrutiny. So they're going to leave. They're going to retire. So in that way, yes, these cases are all going to pick up steam. They're all going to start moving forward. But I don't think that's going to happen until spring of next year, because it's just going to take some time for people to really believe. We're at that place right now where people are like, oh, snap, the cops are here. Oh, we need to hide all these things. We need to pretend like we're not crooks. That's where we are. But whenever she gets the vote, then the cops are in your house. You know what I mean? And then game over, right? So between now and then, as these people start to understand the seriousness and understand that game is over, they're going to fold, and they're going to save their own behinds, is what the spirit guides are saying. So they're going to leave, and then it's going to take some time for us to replace them or to get the cases going again. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Chris Cool says, will Vindman get their military pensions and officer status returned and maybe honored with medals of freedom after the 2024 election and before Biden leaves office, or ever? So the first half of your question is, yes, the Vindman will be vindicated, is what the guides are saying. They will be, not only will they be vindicated, but they will feel vindicated. So there's a difference, right? Like, it's not hollow. Like, it's not like somebody says, oh, we're sorry, here, no, they actually feel it. They feel it in their heart. They feel seen, heard, validated, vindicated. So that's really important. I think even more than their pension or their medal of freedom. I think it's important for their own respect to be restored, right? I think they're going to go to hero status, to be honest with you. They're going to get their military pensions restored. I think Kamala Harris is personally going to see to this. I see her personally, like, this is on her to-do list within, I'm seeing 10. I think that might be 10 months. That might be by October. There's a 10. I don't know. Maybe it's completion. I don't know. They're going to be vindicated, and they're going to be celebrated, and they might even be brought into the cabinet in some way, or they might, like, I think, isn't one of them running for office? One of the twins is running for office. So one of them is going to be celebrated in a win. The other one might be celebrated in a different way. I just feel like there could be another position for them in the administration, or in a role that has to do with military. Is one of them still in the military? I don't know. I see one of them still doing something in a role either adjacent to the military or with the military. So yeah, the answer is yes. Chantel Stone says, will the Heritage Foundation get the IRS knocking on their door due to election interfering? Yes, they will. Not only will the Heritage Foundation, but the guides are showing me all these things. Look up the organization called The Family. It's scary if you want to be scared. There's an organization called The Family, and they have a house that they own, I think, on that wall, on that street where all of the people that do, please help me give me this word, the people who do, it's right on the tip of my tongue, lobbyist. There's a street where all the lobbyists are, apparently, and The Family has a house there, and a lot of Republicans have rooms and stay there. It's really, really, really creepy, super creepy. I think there's been a documentary or a movie done on it. Anyway, think organizations like that will be looked at. for some kind of IRS issue. Also, the Heritage Foundation, there's another group that's going to be investigated that's like the Heritage Foundation. And then also churches. They're going to go after churches. They're going to go after churches that have crossed that line into a political, whatever it is, talking about the separation of church and state. So they're going to actually go after them too. So you're going to see next year, it might not be like immediately, because these things are going to take time. They need to get they might create a separate group. I just see that it takes time to get things in order. But yeah, they're going to go after these places. And I feel like the American people are really going to be happy about this. Like, I feel like this is a sleeper topic that the American people really care about, but nobody knows they care about it, or maybe nobody's asked us. But I feel like once this is announced, there's this huge celebration among Americans, and people are going to be like, wow, we didn't know people cared so much about this. I think they just didn't listen. They just haven't been listening to us. So yes, not only is it going to happen, but it's going to be very well received. And I think it's going to, it also narrows the ability for them to fit into nonprofit. Like, it's going to really tighten those guardrails for other people that, it's just going to tighten the guardrails all the way across the board. Okay. Next question is Martucco says, will our corrupt Supreme Court be cleaned up? Yes, it will. And not in the way that we think. Well, I take that back. Okay. So yes, it will quicker than we think, but not in the way we think. Okay. I want the court expanded, but I don't see that happening anytime really soon. Yes, there's going to be term limits. Yes, there's going to be new ethic rules. Yeah, those things are going to happen, but they have to go through the Congress. It's just going to be a process. Okay. What I'm excited about, the Supreme Court being cleaned up, I'm excited about Alito stepping down, Thomas stepping down, maybe Roberts stepping down. And if we get 3 new Supreme Court justices in there, that cleans the court. That in and of itself cleans the court. So that's a way that we could actually clean the court up in a matter of 6 months versus these other things that could take a year, 2 years, 3 years. Now, we're going to continue doing that because anybody that we put on the Supreme Court is going to be for term limits, and they're going to be for ethics rules. They're going to support those things. So those rules and things will happen, but I'm particularly happy that I've been predicting that 2 to 3 Supreme Court justices would step down. It just hasn't been happening. And now I feel like with this Kamala energy, that's like, just this amazing sea change of energy, that you're going to see a lot of these people that have been bad actors step down because they don't want to be under that spotlight, that scrutiny. Okay. So yes, that answers your question. I think Monty Lucas. Sorry if I'm screwing your name up. My question is Justin Trudeau. Actually, the next 3 questions I think are Canada. Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, be reelected in 2025. Right now, it's looking dicey. When I read on Justin Trudeau, I get a lot of mixed comments. Some of you love him and some of you don't love him. So I'm not saying I have an opinion either way. I'm just saying when I look at his energy, it's dicey. Let me change the question and see if I can get a better answer. Is he going to be there in 26? That's really weird. It's a really strange, I don't understand that, what they're showing me. I think it's a very good chance that he could be there in 26. I have to move it to the next year. Okay. Like, I know you're asking about 2025, but I need to look at the next year and see if he's in office. That's just a better way for me to do it. So 2026, is he in office in 2026? I feel like yes, but I got to tell you, somebody's trying to do something. The rug is trying to be pulled out from under him. He has a lot of energy working against him. He's going to, or if he doesn't, he needs to. There's a woman that he needs to have it be an ally with. There's some energy around either women in general, women's issues in general. He could do very well if he would be. I don't know anything. I'm just telling you what I'm saying, what I'm seeing for him. Either there's a woman that he's going to ally with that's really going to help him, or on top of that, women's issues. It's very early. It's just August, the beginning of August. But right now, it looks like he might pull it off. But man, if he pulls it off, he's worse for the wear. If you understand what I'm saying, like it's a hard race. He gets beat up. He gets pretty beat up, and I think at some point he's wondering, is it worth it? Is it worth me getting this kind of personal attacks and stress? Is it worth it? Like, I really feel like it's that bad. Like, it's a pretty rough and tumble race. Okay, the next question is from 61 Hollywood, who says that they're in Ontario, Canada, and your premier is selling our many public services to privatization companies. Please give me hope that Doug Ford, conservative, will be charged with accepting bribes or something. RCMP, our police here, have been investigating him. Okay. Okay. Yes. You guys, how do I describe this? Kamala. So here in the United States, because we've really been a shit show, let's just face it. Okay. And we've been giving away we've been doing the same thing, privatizing a lot of our public services. Now in Canada, obviously you guys have more public services and you pay for them, and you shouldn't have them privatized. You should have better, they should answer to you more. I think that two things need to happen here. That Canadians want greater autonomy over these services. Like, they want to feel like they have a voice in what they're getting and how they're getting and what they're paying. They want more of a voice. And number one, and number two, that these services are being usurped is the word the spirit guides want to use, taken away from you, and then resold back to you is what they're saying. Like, they take the services away, repackage them up, and then charge you for them. So now, unfortunately, you're paying higher taxes for services you're not getting, and you're having to pay out of your pocket for services they used to get. So this is a terrible situation. And they're doing it because they're convincing you guys, Canadians, that your services are not very good and you'd get better services if it was private. This has been what America's been trying to learn this lesson for forever. So I feel like America is learning this lesson right now, and I feel like you guys will kind of come right behind us and save a lot of those. So what I'm trying to say is America is going to move less into privatization, and I think that's going to help you guys stem the flow of that going into privatization. Okay. Now, as far as Doug Ford goes, I don't want to tell you this, really don't, but he doesn't, it looks like he might get away with something. I feel like he might get away with something, but I also want to tell you, don't lose hope, because to me, it looks like he gets away with something egregious, like something obvious. But that might be the wake-up call that community needs to be able to really rally and go after him. Because this energy is worldwide, this energy of the bully, the energy of the stealing from those less fortunate, or stealing in general, it's worldwide. And the energy is being met. It's being, I don't know what the word is they're trying to say. It's being challenged. Thank you. It's being challenged. So he might get away with something, but then it comes back to bite him in his butt. but I hear the words, the damage is done. Maybe I'm wrong. This is all, I know it's also a little bit vague, but because the energy is changing so quickly, it might catch up with him. Right now, he's ahead of the energy. He's ahead of the karma. He's outpacing the karma. If he slows down or does anything at all, it will catch up with him and flatten him. So I wouldn't count it out. But I just feel like he gets away with something that just makes you irritated. And I'm sorry about that. In the end, I think he pays the price. He's out. He pays the price. He loses power. Canadians are going to wake up too, just like Americans are waking up. You're going to wake up too. And that's why I say there's this woman that's coming on board either with Trudeau or Trudeau steps down in the middle of his time period and a woman takes over. I've often seen a woman taking over for Trudeau, and that could be your Kamala Harris. She also seems like somebody who's not, 100% white. She seems like somebody who would be some other, nationality, culture, I don't know. So don't lose hope. This energy, the tide is going to lift all boats. Okay. The next question is from a user person who doesn't have a name. What will be the outcome of the horrific stabbing of the children in Southport, England? The crowd violence is escalating. It is escalating. And I'm sorry to hear it. And I'm sorry that it happened. But I will tell you that it's going to pop. If you pop a balloon, okay, so right. So the analogy they want to use is you're putting air in a balloon and you just keep putting air and air and air. And that's that kind of vicious, that kind of anger, that kind of malicious energy. That's the air going into the balloon. And then it's going to be too much. It's too much. Boom, it pops. And then all of that energy sort of deflates. Okay. So it's coming to a boil. The water's coming to a boil. The balloon is getting overinflated. It's going to pop. And then you're going to see more parity, more balance, more understanding, more what there's also this sense, and I don't know about the stabbing in Southport, but there's a sense of dysregulation or discrimination here against people, us versus them energy. That's going to start to get more on parity, more balanced. And as that gets more balanced, that kind of violence is going to be eradicated, is what the guides are saying, the word eradicated. So I know it's escalating right now. It may continue to escalate through the summer, but it's going to pop. And then you're going to all come together and say, we don't want this. And it's almost a sense of self-policing within the communities. People are going to say, my son is violent, or this student is violent. You're going to start self-policing, but also having compassion for each other and looking out for each other. That's really what it is. It brings you together. Actually, all of this brings you together is what I'm seeing. Like Brexit really separated you. And now there's this sense of everybody coming together, which sounds corny. It sounds corny, but it's happening in America. And I can't believe it's happening, but it's 100% happening in America right now. And I think it's going to be worldwide because I think that's where the energy is going. So I wish you all the best over there. Thank you so much for watching. Sharon says, after Merrick Garland, let me just check my time here. Okay. After Merrick Garland's time is up, who do I think will be the next Attorney General? Well, I don't know who the next Attorney General is going to be because Kamala can't even pick her VP. Like she's still trying to pick her VP. The VP is going to change everything. If she goes with somebody who's non-establishment, guess what? All bets are off with the Attorney General. All bets are off. She's basically telling the Democratic establishment and the political establishment, I'm on my own. I'm going to make my own choices, and I'm going to go way into left field, and I don't care what you think. Of course, the person that's going to be very accomplished, but they're going to be somebody who's very different. So it could be a Black woman. It could be, it's just going to be somebody different. That's all I can tell you. I don't know if, I don't know, because some of these people don't want it. You know what I mean? Like some of the people that are flashing in front of me don't want that job. Just because you'd be a great version of it doesn't mean you want it, right? So I don't know who they're going to choose. I think the most important thing is that he's gone. I'm not a fan of Merrick Garland. I'm not saying that he was a complete waste product, or maybe I am. Oh man. But anyway, I think the most important thing is that he's gone. We need new blood. We need a new direction. We have a new amazing president and president-elect, and I cannot wait for her to develop and design her own cabinet and her own administration. I cannot wait for that. Okay, let's move on. And your second question was also, what will be the fate of Chief Justice John Roberts? I think John Roberts is going to step down because I said in my last video, there's a huge, and I don't know if you can hear this, but my dog is panting because it's storming outside, and any minute she might jump in my lap. I think that Justice Roberts is under immense scrutiny right now. And I think I'm going to try to push her away from the microphone. And I think he doesn't want that scrutiny. He doesn't want it. It's actually causing him severe health problems in his gut. It's causing him like severe problems in his gut that are changing his lifestyle. Okay. Perhaps he can't get to the bathroom. I don't know what it is. I'm just saying that it's affected him in a way, whatever's happening health-wise has affected him in a way that has changed his lifestyle, and he's not willing to give up his lifestyle for the stress and the burden of being Chief Justice. He would rather and there's also something going on in his head. I don't know if he has migraines. I don't know what is going on, but I have a lot of health problems when I go into his energy. And, he's not an old guy. He wants to live a long life. He wants to have a life. He wants to, have a life, not be have these horrible medical conditions because of this job. It's not worth it to him. So he's thinking right now, I need an exit plan. That's what he's thinking. I think that he's going to step down in January or February. I mean, I see him handing his resignation to Kamala Harris. That's what I see. So maybe he might change his mind and give it to Biden. I don't know. I see one or two retiring before the end of the year. And I would be thrilled if it were 3. So that's what I see. I just don't see him sticking around. I think Ketanji Brown Jackson, I always get her name mixed up. I think she might be the new justice. Okay, let me move on when he steps down. Let's see. Next question. SG Rocket says, will Fox and Newsmax be held accountable for their lies and be forced to provide fair and unbiased news in the future? Yes and no. Not really, but yes and no. Okay. How do I answer your question? I have seen Fox News being sort of separated, like perhaps their news part of that group of channels that they have, like that's sports, all that stuff. I've seen the news part being downgraded or spun off from the other parent company or just closed down. So I've seen that. And then as far as like in general, not only Newsmax and Fox, but let's just say CNN, ABC, NBC. Yes, as we get into, it might take a few years. I hope not, but that's what the guide said. we're going to put new guardrails in around news because we're going to have AI, we're going to have deep fakes, we're going to have fake videos, we're going to have fake voiceovers. It's going to be extremely hard to make sure that what the news agencies are talking about is real and not fake. So the government is going to give them an opportunity. This is what I see. The government is going to say, you have a year to put forth some policies and some guardrails to make sure that you're not part of the problem. And if you don't do it, we will do it for you. So I've always seen, I've said this for many years, that our First Amendment rights are going to there's going to be guardrails on our First Amendment rights. And that might affect me. That might affect what I do. And that's okay. Because when you move the guardrails in, it's not like you do a little loopy-loo around this person and, oh, let me make an exception for that person. The rails are straight. So some people are going to find themselves on the outside and some people on the inside. You have to just make a law and the law goes down the line. There aren't exceptions. Because when you start making exceptions, when do you stop making exceptions? So we will pass laws. It might not be next year. It might not even be in 26, but we will pass laws. In the meantime, karma has its own way of dealing with these people, and that is none of us are watching them. None of us are watching these channels. Even the Fox viewers are not watching as much. It's irrelevant. This is what the spirit guides always tell me, and I think this is so, to me, it just encapsulates the situation. You could have a newscaster go out and talk to a tree. That's how relevant they are. They don't understand Brad Summer. They don't understand Kamala. They don't understand Pete Buttigieg. They don't understand 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds. They don't get them. They don't care to get them because 20 and 30-year-olds don't have money yet. So they've been making all their bank off scaring people that have mortgages and people that have retirements and people that are on Social Security. So they've been scaring those people half to death. And those people are tuning in to the rage baiting news. And now we're not tuning in anyway. So this problem is kind of fix itself because we're going to stop watching them. They're going to be irrelevant. And this is what the spirit guides have said for many, many months and maybe even years. YouTube is going to be the new Netflix. We're not, even institutions like Hollywood are going to change because those writers, those actors, even athletes, everybody is going to start their own show on YouTube or even something new that starts up. And they're going to make their own money that way. And you're going to see people like, I think there's a question here somewhere. I don't know that I'll get to it, but there was a question like, how long before people like Joy-Ann Reid on MSNBC says, see you later, I'm going to start my own thing on YouTube? Well, she could, and she could really pay her bills. I mean, she could really have her own company. She could start her own media company. This is the dissolution, the dissolving of these paradigms, of these old paradigms. They don't work. They're broke down. They're dissolving. Now we're going to start our new way of getting our news or our new way of getting entertainment. So I just think that she's hanging on to establishment media because she believes in it. She believes in her heart and soul. She believes in it. And she's just trying to hold on to see if it can save itself. She doesn't want it to go into the dumpster. And she feels like she's trying to elevate it and trying to keep it newsworthy and relevant. So that it's kind of like her own personal thing that she's trying to do. So those things are going to forever affect these news agencies, forever affect them. They're never going to be the same. And this is even before AI hits in a bigger way. You guys are going to find people that you trust, like Joy-Ann Reid, maybe like me, and you're going to say, I'm going to watch them. I trust and believe them until we prove we're untrustworthy, and you'll move to the next person or whatever happens. But you're not going to trust a brand. You know, the brand of MSNBC or Fox is just not going to be trustworthy. You're going to put all your trust into one person, and you're going to make that times 5 or 10. You know, you'll have 5 or 10 people that you follow online, and you get your news or entertainment or whatever it is from them. You're not going to trust the brand anymore because the corporations have sold us out. They don't care about us. They just care about making us freaked out. So we'll watch and scaring us to death. Okay, let's go with Puppy Dog Diesel. Sorry, she's shaking my whole desk. I'm going to end this video so I can attend to her because it's storming outside. Okay, Puppy Dog Diesel says, where will Ted Cruz be in 2025? Will Colin Allred help him pack for a permanent vacation? That's great, Puppy Dog Diesel. I think Colin Allred could win. I think Kamala Harris is the energy. She's the tide that lifts all boats. And I think that when you have a popular president, it definitely helps the down ticket races. So I think Colin Allred could win. And I think that this is beautiful energy because I think he's a good guy. And I think Texas could sure use him in office. And I feel like he also is somebody who gets Kamala's energy. I just feel like there's a good synergy there too. So I'm happy because I haven't seen the best news about Colin. He's a great guy. I'm voting for him. I've donated. I'll volunteer. I will work for this guy. But when I look at his energy, I can't quite get him over the line to win for whatever reason. Because Texas is a crazy place. But I think he's got better numbers now. He's got a better opportunity to win now than he did before. And I think that his energy looks better. Like another thing is you don't want to peak. You don't want to peak too early. You want to peak like in October, November. So that's what I love is I'm seeing him peaking in October, not in August. Like you don't want to use all the gas in your tank in August. You want to just keep doing the thing. And then in October, that's when you want to sprint. That's when you want to peak. And that's what I see for him. So I think that's going to be good for him. So I'm happy for that. Overall, I think we're going to pick up 2 seats, maybe 2 seats in the Senate. And I think we could pick up 4 or 5 seats in the House. So we have a blue Congress. We have an amazing new president. We couldn't be luckier, right? But what we have to do is we have to continue to work to get the vote out because it's you cannot assume that this energy is, the energy is Kamala. Everything else is on us. She's going to help, but we have to also do our part because it would really be terrible to give Kamala the presidency and for her to have a really weak, majority in Congress. She would get nothing done. Let's not do that to her. She's doing so much for us. Let's show up for her. That means get involved. Donate, campaign, canvas, text bank, phone bank. You're just reading you're reading a script and you're calling numbers that they give you. You're not calling MAGAs. You're not calling people typically that are going to scream at you. Okay. Get involved. If you live near a candidate or in a candidate's district that you're going to be able to show up at the rallies, support them. Don't let them do this alone. You can also offer to go to your Democratic office and just do any kind of work, like office work, like what I did for Obama. A lot of stuff that I did was really work like rent a U-Haul to help them transport office furniture to another location. I rented the U-Haul for them, right? Get them stuff they need. If they need a printer, do they need a laptop? Okay, I have an extra laptop at home. Here, take it. They need that kind of stuff. It's not all stuff that's like, if you're an introvert like I am, you don't want to knock on doors, but maybe you're really good at spreadsheets. Maybe you're really good at going to get lunch for everybody in the office. All these things help. There's a million ways you can help. Just show up and say, I want to do everything I can, but I don't want to do this. Is there anything else you need me for? You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. You might be that you're really good at delivering yard signs to people. It might be that you're really good at putting yard signs out, putting campaign signs out. This all takes manpower, woman power. And if somebody's better at phone banking and you're better at taking some yard signs, then you do that. Find your place, plug yourself in, get busy. Okay. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Susan Lynn, Psychic Medium. If you've watched this video and you've enjoyed it, please hit the subscribe button. Think about sharing it to your Democratic club or anybody else that might find it helpful. Take really, really good care of yourselves. I'll see you again real soon. For entertainment purposes only.